Ghostly tales, yet mirrors of human life. Hey everyone! Welcome to Encountering Chinese, Ghostly Tales from Zhai. Today, I'm going to tell you a story called Shengse. Shengse, a native of Jining, married a daughter from the Mu family in the same village. The Mu woman bore him a son, who had just turned 1 year old. Once, Shengse suddenly fell ill and felt he couldn't survive, so he said to his wife, "When I die, you must remarry, do not stay faithful to me." His wife responded with sweet words and solemn promises, assuring him she would remain faithful to him until death. Shengse then shook his head, called his mother, and said, "After I die, please help take care of your grandson. Don't let your daughter-in-law stay faithful to me." Hearing this, his mother tearfully agreed. Soon after, Shengse passed away. Mu's mother came to mourn at the Jin household. After crying, she said to Shengse's mother, "Heaven has brought misfortune, and my son-in-law has suddenly died. But my daughter is still so young, what will become of her future?" At this moment, Shengse's mother, deeply immersed in grief, found it hard to suppress her anger and, with great agitation, replied, "She must stay faithful to my son." Mu's mother, realizing her words were somewhat inappropriate, felt ashamed and said no more. That night, Mu's mother stayed with her daughter and privately said, "Which man couldn't be my daughter's husband? Why must you stay faithful to a deceased man? With your good looks, why worry about not finding a suitable partner in the future? A young woman not finding another husband early and simply clinging to a baby in swaddling clothes, isn't that foolish? If that old Mrs. Jean insists on you staying faithful, then don't show her any kindness in your daily interactions." Coincidentally, Jin's mother overheard some of the conversation between Mu and her daughter, making her even more furious. The next day, Jin's mother said to Mu's mother, "My son left a will, and he originally didn't want his wife to stay faithful. But now that she is so eager to remarry, I will definitely make her stay faithful to my son." Mu's mother, having no other choice, left in a rage. At night, Jin's mother had a dream in which her son appeared, tearfully urging her not to make Mu stay faithful. This left her feeling puzzled. Following her son's wishes, she sent a servant to inform the Mu family, agreeing that after the funeral, Mu could marry someone else. However, after consulting a geomancer, the Jin family learned that it was not auspicious to hold a funeral this year, so the burial was postponed. Meanwhile, Mu, eager to remarry and flaunt her beauty, continued to adorn herself with makeup even during the mourning period. While she wore plain clothes at her in-laws' home, she would change into new, colorful garments as soon as she returned to her parents' house. Jin's mother found her daughter-in-law's behavior excessive but chose to endure it, knowing Mu would soon belong to another family. Sensing Jin's mother's leniency, Mu became even more brazen. In the village, a rogue named Dong Gui became infatuated with Mu upon seeing her. He also bribed a neighbor elderly woman from the Jin family with money, asking her to convey his feelings of affection to Mu. In the middle of the night, Dong Gui climbed over the wall from the old woman's house to Mu's residence and engaged in an illicit affair with her. This scandalous relationship lasted over 10 days and became widely known, though Shengse's mother remained unaware. At night, Mu had only a young maidservant, her confidant, attending to her. One night, while Mu was entangled with Dong Gui, there was a loud noise from Shengse's coffin, resembling firecrackers. The maid, lying in the outer room, saw the deceased Shengse emerge from behind the curtains, holding a sword, and enter the bedroom. Shortly after, she heard Mu and Dong Gui's panicked cries for help. Not long after, Dong Gui ran out naked. Shortly thereafter, Shengse also emerged, grabbing Mu by the hair, while Mu screamed loudly. Awakened by the commotion, Jin's mother got up to investigate. She saw Mu naked and running away. When Jin's mother called out to her, Mu did not respond. Jin's mother pursued her but found the surroundings eerily quiet, with Mu nowhere to be seen. Returning to Mu's bedroom, she found the lamp still lit and a pair of men's shoes by the bed. She immediately called the young maid, who, trembling, came in and recounted the strange events in detail. Jin's mother was astonished by what she heard. Returning to Dong Gui, he fled to the old neighbor woman's house and crouched in a corner. After a while, when he could no longer hear any sounds, he finally stood up. Now, naked and shivering with cold, he had no choice but to call the old woman to ask for some clothes. At that moment, he noticed a room in the courtyard with its doors slightly ajar. Summoning his courage, he entered. In the darkness, he felt his way to the bed and touched a small woman's foot, guessing it must be the old neighbor woman's daughter-in-law. Instantly, he felt a surge of lust and climbed into the bed, intending to violate her. The woman, half awake, asked, "Husband, is that you?" He deceitfully replied, "Yes, it's me." She suspected nothing and began to embrace him warmly. The neighbor woman's son had gone to the northern village for some errands, instructing his wife to lock the doors and wait for his return. When he came back, he heard noises inside the house and grew suspicious. Listening closely, he recognized the lewd words and became enraged. Grabbing a weapon, he burst into the room. Dong Gui, terrified, tried to hide under the bed, but the neighbor woman's son, in a fit of rage, killed him. He then turned to kill his own wife, but she pleaded it was a misunderstanding, and he spared her. However, he didn't know who was hiding under the bed, so he called his mother over and shone a light, revealing that it was Dong Gui. Upon closer inspection, they saw that Dong Gui was barely alive. When they questioned him, he managed to confess the whole story. But Dong Gui, having suffered multiple injuries and losing a lot of blood, soon died. Panicking, the old woman told her son, "To catch adultery, both parties should be caught. The magistrate could forgive if he knew. But now, you've only killed one person. What should we do?" Her son, realizing the situation, reluctantly killed his wife as well. That night, Mu's father was sleeping when he heard the sound of a fire outside. When he went out to check, he saw that the eaves of the house were indeed on fire, and the arsonist was hesitating to leave. Mu's father shouted loudly, and the whole family came rushing out. Fortunately, the fire had just started and was easy to extinguish. Mu's father then ordered his family members to take weapons and bows to capture the arsonist. However, they saw the person leap over the wall like an agile monkey and disappear. Outside the wall was the Mu family's peach orchard, surrounded by high and sturdy walls. A few servants climbed up ladders to look, but they couldn't see the arsonist. They did see something trembling slightly at the base of the wall. When they asked who it was, there was no response, so they shot arrows at it, finding it soft and yielding. The family then brought lanterns to examine more closely and discovered a naked woman lying there, an arrow piercing her chest and forehead. Upon closer inspection with torches, they realized the woman was Mu. The family members, shocked, immediately reported this to their master. Mu's parents were terrified and couldn't understand why this had happened. Mu lay there with her eyes closed, her face ashen, barely breathing. Mu's father instructed someone to pull out the arrow from her forehead, but it wouldn't budge. A servant stepped on her head to get leverage and finally pulled the arrow out. As soon as the arrow was removed, Mu let out a weak moan, then blood gushed out, and she died. Upon seeing this, Mu's father was greatly terrified and could not think of any solution. At dawn, Mu's father told the truth to Jin's mother and knelt down to beg the Jin family for forgiveness. However, Jin's mother did not harbor any resentment or anger. She merely recounted everything she knew to Mu's father and allowed the Mu family to handle the burial of Mu. Jin Shengse had an uncle named Jin Shengguang, who angrily came to the Mu family to scold and berate them for Mu's past misdeeds. Mu's father, ashamed and dejected, gave him some money to make him leave. However, people still did not know who had an affair with Mu. Soon after, the old neighbor woman's son confessed his act of catching the adulterers and killing them to the county magistrate, who merely gave him a slight reprimand and let him go. But his wife's brother, Ma Biao, did not believe the story and filed a petition to seek justice for his sister. The county magistrate then had to arrest the old neighbor woman. When she came to the court, she was so terrified that she confessed everything in detail. The county magistrate then summoned Jin's mother, who claimed to be ill, and sent Jin Shengguang to testify on her behalf. He recounted the entire course of events. Thus, the previous case was reopened, implicating Mu's father and mother, and all the details were thoroughly investigated. Mu's mother was found guilty of abetting her daughter's remarriage and was sentenced to flogging, but the county magistrate allowed her to pay to reduce her sentence, which led to the Mu family exhausting their fortune. The old neighbor woman was beaten to death for facilitating adultery, and the case was concluded. At the end of the story, the author has this commentary. He says, Jin Shengse was truly a divine man. His repeated instructions for his wife to remarry were such a wise decision. He managed to exact his revenge without killing anyone, which only a divine being could achieve. The old neighbor woman led another man's wife into adultery, resulting in her own daughter-in-law being raped. Mu's mother loved her daughter but ultimately caused her death. Alas, if one wants to know the future result, one must look at the current behavior. The retribution for the Jin family came so quickly that they did not have to wait for the next life for justice to be served. Alright. That's all for today's ghostly tale, Jin Shengse. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Please also encourage everyone to comment and share more. We'll see you in the next episode.